Okay, this morning we're going to look at sowing chilies. Now, chilies are one of my favourite plants to grow. One, because they're fantastic in cooking, but also they're just such decorative ornamental plants which you can have about the house. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and heat strength. Look at these beauties. These are called Joe's Long, very long as the name suggests. These are one of my favourites. They're called Pot Black, and they start off black and then they go a lovely deep red. They're quite hot. Loco, if you're looking for something that's very ornamental, not too hot, these are lovely as well. They start off purple and they change colour and they end up red. This little monster, ouch, not really, this is called Carolina Reaper, and this is the hottest chilli around. And I've already picked some of the fruits off it and put them in the freezer. So this is November for these. They're still growing quite strong, but you can usually pick them from July through to, for November, keep them under cover in a greenhouse or polytunnel or inside. These are beautiful, you know, on the kitchen table or on the windowsill. So let's have a look at how we sow them. It's February and I'm going to sow some chilli seeds. You can actually sow them as early as January and probably as late as April, but most people try and start them off February, March. The important thing is that they've got to get heat and they've got to get light. And the trouble is, if you're not careful, if you start them off too early, all you get is very leggy seedlings. So sometimes it's better to sow them a little bit later when the light in the day is longer. So quite easy to sow. As you can see, these are called Prairie Fire. They're quite flat, quite light seeds. Now, best thing to do is to get some seed compost. This is a little bit moist, so pop the seed compost into some cells, like so, and then all you need to do for these particular size of cells is just place one gently on the top, press it in slightly, and you can do that in all the cells, like so. And then what you do then is get some multi-purpose compost. You can either riddle it or just make sure that it's really fine, just even, you know, twiddle it around with your fingers, and put a very, very light covering over the top, you know, less than 1/4 of an inch. Just damp it down and, you know, just add a little bit of water, not too much. As they're growing, don't overwater them. They'll probably take about 7 to 10 days to germinate. Don't overwater, but keep them moist. Then they really need the heat to get them going. So ideally you want something at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit, about 18 to 19 centigrade. But ideally I'd say about, you know, 20 degrees centigrade, something around that. Pop them in a propagator and quite simply keep them covered. Put them on a windowsill or in a heated greenhouse. Providing you can provide that temperature, they'll come on, let's say about 7 to 10 days, or maybe a bit longer. Some varieties will take quite a while to germinate, so be patient. If you're lucky, you can also have one of these types of propagators, and some of them have undersoil heating, which is great for setting the chilies off, but also very important, they have lights. So if you do start off in February, you haven't got a lot of light, but you've got one of these propagators, it will give them sufficient light during the day, so that prevents them getting too leggy and gives them sufficient light to grow into, you know, well supported plants with good stems. Okay, so growing chilies, Probably, you know, once they're got about 2 to 4 leaves, you can plant them on into pots, keep them in a greenhouse. Pots need to be about, you know, 3.5 inches, something like that, and grow them on in the greenhouse, and preferably keep them warm still, but not as warm. They don't need it quite so much once they're established. And then just keep them going, and then eventually you will pot them on to bigger pots. But for the initial stages, it's really all about getting them going and germinating them. So heat and light, those are the two important factors, and not too much water.